This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, as we gather at this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
All right. Happy New Year. First meeting of the new year. First item, as usual, is public comment. What we got? Plenty of public.
All right, I guess I'll start.
Maybe?
Nobody else wants to do it.
Kick off the year.
So I'm coming back again to ask you to take the prosecution against American Legion off the table and move forward with it again, so that I can live in a nice, quiet neighborhood that doesn't have flashing lights like Las Vegas. That's all.
Thank you.
So I came tonight to address the board about the illegal sign on Front Street. And I know some of the people that have spoken before have been kind of badgered about being anti-veteran. So I just want to address my history as a veteran. I was in the Marines for 4 years, served in Vietnam. I was also in Desert Storm for the duration of that effort. I had a younger brother that served in Vietnam and was killed in Vietnam with the Marines. My father served in the Pacific with the Marines in World War II. And my grandfather served in the Merchant Marines in World War I. So I'm not against veterans. But I am against people who willingly and knowingly violate the law and just look the village in the mouth and say, we don't care what you say. So I support the code enforcement officer and the removal of that sign. I want that sign to be removed either by the people that put it up or by the village at a cost to the people that put it up. I also wonder about why it went to OHPC. Since no sign can go on that property in an R2 anyway, it should have never went to R2, to OHPC, I mean. And some people have said this is an anti-veteran complaint. It's not, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's pro-neighborhood, pro-village, and pro-code enforcement law in the village by the code enforcement officer, supported by the village board, which I hope that you do. Thank you.
Please come on. Anybody else? Got both the Varneys over there.
I hear you. Okay, so I'm gonna discuss the sign. Okay? Our parents were both in service also. We're both members of the Legion.
And their brother.
And my brother, our brother, and my grandparents and my grandmother. There's no way I guess at the last meeting that somebody can see the sign from Main Street. That is absolutely.
That I can see that sign from Main Street.
That's absolutely impossible.
I can see the light
Point
from
of
that
order,
sign.
point
Okay,
of order,
there's a
point
difference.
of order. This is addressing the board, not arguing.
And there's a difference between seeing the sign and the lights. There's a difference.
Yeah, in that I can't sleep in my bedroom because that sign is flashing and I can see it from the neighborhood behind me.
May I ask what time you see it?
I see it at night when it's on, past 7 o'clock, when you're supposed to turn it off, supposedly, for the illegal sign that you shouldn't even have there in the first place. Let me ask you, who put that up? Did the American Legion board, the actual board of the American Legion approve? So they approved doing something completely illegal, something they knew they did. They had a stop work order in. They had been refused multiple times by not only OHPC, but code against doing this. And you put that in?
Well,
The American Legion, you're gonna say that's on recording. Come here, say it on recording that the American Legion board.
I said the board
Okay.
decided to put it up, yes.
I'm gonna
Now,
take a clip of that and send it to the American Legion Nationals.
well, we can
Okay.
also.
Because you just admitted that your
we can-
board did something
We can
completely
also
illegal.
sue OHPC
Calm down.
Go ahead.
because
We haven't done anything
you
against
tried to
the
sell our
American-
sign. That is illegal, young lady.
We did not try to sell your sign.
I've got it. I got it right here.
We told you to sell your frickin' sign and put up a sign that's actually legal.
Well, maybe you should have made the decision
Maybe
at a
you should have
meeting instead of outside the
agreed.
meeting too.
You decided a
Maybe
month
you
ahead
should
of
have
time,
agreed to follow the law.
okay,
And not go ahead and do
I've got the
something
floor
illegal.
now.
Make sure we're public comment.
You
we're addressing
people
the board.
made the decision a month before we even met.
You're supposed to talk to us.
I'm addressing the whole thing.
This way. Thank you.
Anyways, you made the decision, OHPC, a month before we even met. We met in June. You guys had already decided ahead of time you weren't putting it up. And so why did I waste my time going there? You know, and you're the one that, Phoebe made the motion not to do it,
Yep,
or to do whatever, however.
to deny it,
So,
to say an electronic billboard in an R2 and that size is not only against OHP's
well, first of all,
historic regulations,
I
it's
got the
against
floor.
zoning, and
I got
it's
the
against
floor.
code.
I got the floor. I got the floor. Lost my train of thought.
Then you had
So-
to put it up anyways.
Well, you're pretty observant. You should have been a detective. Yes,
Yeah,
we
yes.
did put it up. That building should not even be zoned. It's a commercial property. It
It
shouldn't
is
be
not a
zoned
commercial
residential.
property, it's an R2 property, just because you happen to destroy
So
that
anyways,
building
as I was
does
saying,
not make it
the
a
sign,
commercial property.
the sign, you know, that sign's not the only illegal sign in the village by code. Village code says no electronic or digital signs allowed in the village. And I've gone through this before, Mike, you've heard it. Boys Club, Warden Van Scoy, the school district. The gas stations have digital lights in them. M&T Bank, Auto Zone.
None of those are in an R2,
Yeah.
none of those.
I will say that I checked into that after we talked, and it is specific to R2, or the residential code, that you can't have a lighted sign like that.
Well, then
In
rezone us.
commercial and industrial, you
Then
can.
rezone us.
That's,
You don't follow zone to begin with.
So, you know, there's a lot of stuff in this village that doesn't follow OHPC guidelines or village code. So, you know,
And you just wanted to join them, didn't you?
Let's not fight amongst ourselves, let's address the board.
You know,
Anyway.
let them speak and then you speak.
and I have dates and times that when the light is on and when it's off, when the sign is on and when the sign is off.
Okay.
Okay, I've documented it since November, middle of November. Every time it gets turned on and when it gets turned off. Such as today, it's not open, we're not open, it's not on. I'm not gonna stand here and argue with people because it's not worth it, but the sign's up. And we'll do what we had discussed a few months ago. We'll get our committees together and
More public comment. Mike?
all right, I'm not gonna discuss the sign because I'm gonna lose my, if I do. But I have a question about OHPC.
Sure.
Now, I understand the reason that they brought OHPC back was because it provides the village with the opportunity for certain grants.
And some historic tax credits, yes.
Right. And now. Okay, that was my understanding when I was at the meetings when they decided to bring the OHPC back, was because it provided the village the opportunity to apply for grants that they wouldn't be eligible for without the OHPC.
Yeah, there's a bunch of benefits, but yeah.
So my question is, how many of those grants have been applied for and how many has the village got?
Quite a few. Karen might know, she's our.
So when you're thinking about, like you're playing a game against other towns, okay? When you go in with a certified local government status, which is part of OHPC, that commission is there. You go in with points into the game when the other team doesn't have points, when the other place doesn't have points.
Well, I understand.
So for things like downtown revitalization initiative, that made a huge impact. So places like Sheer Paradise, Owego Donuts and Beer, what other places? Marvin Park, that got money through downtown revitalization. It is tied into us having a certified local government. You are going to make the certified local government go away, and we will not have those.
That's not my point. My point is all right, I understand how it works,
Okay.
all right? But is that the only grant that we've gotten out of this whole deal
Good Lord, no.
that is helping the whole village, not just historic districts?
Owego Donuts and Beer is not the historic district.
I understand that.
Yeah, I believe the Kathy Cakes, Owego Brewing
Well, they got-
Company,
They got some DRI money.
they got some DRI money, so that is in the historic district.
There's been a bunch of like Main Street grants. and-
Main Street, yeah,
Main Street grants to the Parkview.
yeah.
The latest one would be Talbot Trails has a Main Street grant.
Mhm.
How about the grant to fix the frickin' fire station? You want us to lose those too?
Right, I mean, and that's $400,000.
First of all, the grant, a lot of that DRI money should have gone to the fire station instead of some of the other crap that it went to. But I'm gonna address the board. It seems like, there's talk about all this grant money. It seems to be the same people in here complaining all the time, specifically about the sign.
Yeah, the one
And
that
it's the
lives
same
next to it.
3 people. There's a lot of people out there that are for the sign. You get the same 3 or 4 people coming in here complaining about it all the time. That was what, a month ago, Stephen, or more? That they had the conversation about getting together with the Legion, and that hasn't happened yet. So maybe let's get that done and get this crap over with, so maybe the board can get onto something a little more important.
Oh, I agree.
I agree with Mike. You should continue the prosecution. You should get rid of that sign, and we can move
But
on to
that's
more
not what I
important
said.
things. No, I agree with you. We should get this over with and get rid of that sign.
I think maybe we should get this over with, get rid of OHPC.
Oh, and lose millions of dollars in grants also. You can have your little sign.
No, because I think there's too many people on OHPC who are more concerned about their own property values and getting their own grant money for their homes than they really care about the rest of the village.
I don't get grant money for my home, and I have to live next to that sign, and that's why you see the same 3 people who have to live right next to it, showing up and
Well, you're not
saying,
next to
we
it.
don't want to live next to this.
You're not next to it.
Before, ultimately, the sign is a code enforcement and zoning issue, so that's not a village board issue.
Correct, it is not a village board issue, and it was also not an OHPC issue. That sign would be illegal if there was no such thing as OHPC. So I really don't like badgering OHPC on it, because that sign is illegal, OHPC or no HPC.
They're really the last step.
What are they gonna do when they put in their kiosks, when the historic preservation committee comes in and puts in those electronic kiosks? They're gonna tell them they can't do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them you can't do it in a residential area. That's what I'm
Tell
gonna
the
tell
state
them.
that?
And you just got me on recording
You're
saying
gonna tell the
that.
state that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go look it
Well,
up.
the kiosks actually are something that they're putting into buildings, not out on the street. The ones that you highlighted in St. Louis, I had some of my people go and check, because I have some relatives in St. Louis. They've had a lot of problems with them being outside because the electronics don't work well when the temperature changes. So it appears that the things that the government is looking to put into is into a museum or a historic building, so that I don't think that would be a problem. The other thing is the ones in St. Louis that you had sent that piece of paper with, they gave us some clue, that is in the middle of a commercial district, which is a totally different thing than putting it in a residential district. So, and that would be the same, I believe, for like what New York State Parks is going to be looking at, because we have talked with some people up in Albany about this since. So thank you for bringing it up, though. It's a very interesting concept, and I think in a building that would be wonderful.
We'll still keep it. We'll still keep it in the backyard.
Mr. Rick,
Rusty's standing up.
Mr. Spencer wanted to have something to say, but he's having a problem getting the floor. I'd like you to give him the floor if he's still interested.
Thank you.
I think he's here to talk about kiosks.
No.
Well, listen, I want OHBC because I want to protect my property, keep its value. We have a nice downtown. I want to lose value. And this is demeaning to ours. And also, when you sue them, I hope you also sue the board of the American Legion for the fees that's costing the village. I hope they have good liability insurance. going after.
Thanks, John.
Liability insurance.
Yeah, for making poor decisions on the board. Liability, board
This
insurance.
village has been making poor decisions for years.
For deliberately doing something
All
that
right,
was
let's
criminal.
keep it, we got something Corey wants to do.
I guess my question is, like, why does it have to be a pissing match? Why can't you come to common resolution? Here's the reality, is everybody knows I got property that can be a headache. I can put a strip club places, I can put adult entertainment places. Why don't you guys give a little bit? Like, there's gotta be a meeting ground, right? No? How much was that sign?
20,000 donated.
Do you think you can sell it?
This lady donated it for her husband, who's a member. He got killed in a DOT accident on the highway,
I get it.
and she wanted it donated for that purpose.
Steve, you know me a long time, and
I know you a long time.
I'm not going against you guys, I'm not, but there's a fine line, like, if you start causing chaos with everybody, I don't side with either one, I don't live in a village, don't bother me, but we know how I would act to this. If I lived in a village like Phoebe, and it was a problem to me, I would spend 20 grand to put something in front of your house that irritated the shit out of you for hours. But I think there's a common ground. I'm not trying to, I'm being real, Steve. Like,
And this is why we have a committee that we're gonna sit down.
I mean, she's saying nighttime, just shut it off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Sorry, everybody's obliged. The lady got her sign, you got it up, Phoebe can sleep. I mean, there's a give and take somewhere.
It's shut off every night at 7.
It gets dark at 4.
Right, well, now it gets dark.
This time of year.
Right, this
I'm just saying, like,
No, right, no, I understand what you're saying.
everybody's gotta respect
And
everybody.
that's why when we're not open, we don't turn it on. But we do turn it on Sundays for breakfast, because it's breakfast, you know. But
I'm
shut
not,
off at noon.
I get it, I'm just
I got
saying.
no
that-
problem doing something like that.
Do you have a problem with possibly putting a sign that actually meet code and meet zoning? Because that's what we asked you when you guys first came and went for a permit to put this billboard in. And we said, no, that not only doesn't meet code, it doesn't meet zoning. You need to put in a sign that will actually meet the law. And we told you that. And you said,
Decision
No.
was made not
we're gonna
by
do what we
OHBC
want.
to deny it before they even got to them.
So it's
Yeah,
principle.
because you told us what kind of sign you
I
were
guess the
putting in.
deal is that the hill you guys want to die on, it's principle. I mean,
And when you told us
It's a
that
sign.
sign, we
And
said, we
Steve,
are
trust me,
absolutely
if it
not
was
gonna
me,
approve that. You need
I
to
put the
come
sign
back
up
with a
whatever
sign we
states,
can
but-
approve.
and I'm not attacking nobody, but that's the problem you guys are having from an outsider. You guys are attacking each other. Just come to common ground and figure it out. Like, he wants to sue you, you want to sue him, the sign needs to come down. Just figure it out. Shut the sign off at 4 o'clock. And I understand, but you gotta give a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Phoebe, I understand. Trust me. I understand, but there's gotta be give and take. It's not about ego and live by the sword, die by the sword. My brother just passed away 9 months ago, and he was the epitome. Live by the sword, die by the sword. So if that's what you guys want to do, you want to die on that hill, so be it. But I'm just, as an outsider speaking, that you guys should probably just figure it out in a different manner. Wanting to sue your insurance company and it's wrong and not get money, it's just, you guys are gonna hurt yourselves. The village isn't gonna get any better. I promise you that. Now that I'm off that topic, I'm here because I was wondering if you guys thought about or made any decision on the Division Street tree cutting?
We haven't made any decisions.
Any thoughts?
That's a good question for everybody.
I kind of went and looked at the property, from the bus garage area, like where they used to have the buses.
Yep.
You know, I'm really concerned about like, what are they going to, like DEC wise? I think that's going to definitely be an issue, and I think we would have to go and check with them before we would, authorize anything. Just because of how close it is to some of the water there. And the property lines were a little fuzzy to me. I was trying to do it off my phone, and that was a little tough. So maybe that's something I can work on with Rodney.
I already spoke to Brett Wilson about it, and he was like, as long as nothing's in the creek, which obviously I don't want it to go in the creek. Another thing to bring to you guys is, when I was walking that, because it borders our property, when they cut the power lines, you guys have lost thousands of dollars worth of lumber and trees that could have been purchased because they just pushed it all in a pile. It was wild to me. I don't know how that come about, but, I'm not, you guys probably lost $30,000-$40,000 of timber them cutting the power lines but we're arguing about a sign that really is, I get it, it's feelings, it's, you know, when you're emotionally attached where the problem lies, but not to get back on a sign, I just think you guys should find a common ground. But that was something I wanted to bring to you guys that, you know, that's something to think about. I know that not everybody's about cutting trees and, but we all are about using the bathroom and toilet paper, so I guess it's what it is.
Anybody else have any thoughts on the trees? For Corey?
Could we maybe get something that just plots out the property, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That plots out the property a little bit better, because that's where I was having difficulty really trying to figure out which exactly property it is. Can we get
Yeah.
something printed out for that?
We can, sometimes it's hard when you get over there to figure out where that is. I
Okay.
think Fred has an app on his phone, right? So maybe Fred would help, because
Okay.
he has like a hunting app that shows you when you're there, what piece of property you're in.
Well, I don't want any deer, just want to look at the trees.
No, but it happens to have property lines and
Okay, yeah,
GPS.
I get that, all right. So we might work on that.
Okay,
All right.
Maybe next time?
yeah, Fran, what do you got?
I just wanted to make a comment here on this whole issue with the Legion. I mean, every,
Can we
Do we give
do you have any
Oh, I'm sorry.
comment on the trees?
trees?
I'm sorry, I thought,
Then we'll go back to the Legion, but do you have
Okay.
any comment on the trees?
no, I wasn't gonna
Okay.
comment on the trees, sorry.
You want to cut the trees, is that what you said?
Okay, go back to the Legion.
Okay, well, just my comment on the Legion, I mean, every single meeting of the board, we have these, it's turning into an argument between the citizens. And we've got to stop it. I think, just like we've had meetings with the EMS department, we need to schedule a meeting as soon as we can to work with the Legion and the board to deal this one subject instead of taking up, public comment all the time, because it's not accomplishing anything.
Well, Nate will advise us probably not to do that, because it is a code enforcement zoning issue. We have to be careful where we get involved with and what we do. So eventually, if it comes to us, we will mix ourselves.
Yes.
Guess what?
Well, just exactly what Mike said.
In your.
Exactly what-
Sorry. I was just echoing what Mike said. Yes, Mike said exactly what my advice would be.
Wow, I'm gonna become a lawyer someday. I got this engineer's on.
So how are we gonna deal with this, Mike? We can't just keep.
Yeah, we've got to figure that out.
This constant debate.
Ultimately, it's a code enforcement zoning issue, which is the root of the problem. I mean, we could meet with people and explain to them the code and zoning law better and maybe what their options are. But aside from that, it gets tough.
Well, I agree with Corey and other people there. I think we need to come up with some sort of compromise.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would just like to encourage the board to remove the sign as quickly as they can by the people that put it up, to save themselves the fine money that they're incurring weekly because of the violation. I'm not sure how much money that the American Legion wants to spend on fines before they finally take the sign down, or if the village has to take the sign down and give the American Legion a bill for probably $15,000 or $20,000 to remove it, which I don't think is in their interest and probably not in the village's interest either.
So yes, we do need some sort of something, because people are fighting about it. It's not good.
Can I suggest maybe a meeting between the board, group from the Legion, with code enforcement along there too?
Yeah, but again, we have to be careful with, because it's an active issue. And like those issues, once like, it's like a police officer writes you a ticket for speeding or breaking the law. Like, we don't get to tell you that you get out of jail.
Correct, that was exactly the analogy that I've been struggling not to tell you about. But one time, there's 5 guys in a car doing 90 miles an hour, the state trooper pulls them over, and he says, "You know why I stopped you?" And they said, "No." And he said, "Well, why don't we talk about it?" You don't talk about it, it's a violation of the law, period.
Can I ask a question? What type of sign is permitted?
Like at the VFW.
Well, no, not even that. In a residential, it's like a sign of a little bigger than this.
Oh, that's right.
Just the sign that was there before, that was permitted?
Correct.
Not by code, it's
Not
not,
by code.
they have to be a certain size, a 3 by, I can't remember right up.
All you see is that old sign was up there, it was in violation.
Grandfathered in.
But I thought like the issue was that it was digital.
Well, that's
Flashing.
part of the issue, that's the whole village issue, which is why really like the Boys and Girls Club and, the school district and such, which that gets a little dicey.
Yeah, I mean, we moved into modern times where
And that's,
electronics is,
so me and Nate looked at
information.
the code, and lit up signs are only not permitted in residential zones.
Well, how is school sign permitted there?
So there,
That's residential, George Street is.
that is zone
You see
residential.
those signs from houses.
So that's a
Right there
little
on George
sticky
Street.
subject, because the school, along with the government or county, whatnot, doesn't have to follow laws, zoning laws. Because they're part of the government. Same as they don't pay taxes. Rusty's got something.
And of course, as we look at the zoning map, it's absurd that the entire school property is an R1 district that, of course, should be zoned differently. But that's a different story.
So they're a little anomaly. But like the Boys and Girls Club is an industrial zone property. So is Warden Vanscoy's. So downtown, like if you think AutoZone and whatnot, that's all commercial. Where internally lit signs are allowed.
So it doesn't have to be digital, it could be just a sign with like a marquee, like the movie theater.
Right. And that's
But
allowed.
if it's backlit, it
Because
would,
it's commercial.
so it's not the brightness of the sign, it's the,
It's the zone really is the issue. The fact that the Legion is zoned residential. Now, whether it should be zoned residential or not, that is really, unlike code enforcement, that's a question for us. Because we're the only ones that have the power to rezone a piece of land. So,
Well, how are we gonna address this now? We've gotta set something specific, or this is gonna go on all the time.
it's sticky because right now there's active violations, which trigger a process similar to if you get arrested or get a speeding ticket. It goes to court and it goes to here and all that kind of stuff. So,
Well, when we, I guess it was probably the second meeting in November, I think, when we decided to temporarily put a hold on the court hearing or whatever.
Yeah, November 16th.
And,
Yeah, so there's 2 paths,
and we said we were gonna do that temporarily until we could figure out the problem.
right? So there's 2
How are we gonna
paths,
figure it out?
which Nate will tell us. There's a code enforcement path that goes down the normal process. I'll say, like if you build a porch without a permit and you get a violation, it goes down the process, goes to the DA for prosecution, it goes to court, it goes, that path is still going. There's another path where we, the village, could sue this Legion to take the sign down. That's the path that we halted because mostly at Nate's advice, it was gonna cost us a bunch of money to do that.
So where do we go from here?
I mean, coffee, don't.
I mean, we gotta figure out how to address this.
If you look at the county records, it shows that the site is listed as commercial 1.
That doesn't count, you're in the village.
Yeah.
You wanna be in the county, live in the county.
I'm
Unfortunately,
not talking about, it's according to the county property records, it says commercial 1.
You're in the village.
unfortunately,
So, and the village is in the county.
but it goes
According to
the
the
other way.
county property records, it's listed as commercial 1.
And the
village says it's R2.
Yeah, and it goes the other way with zoning.
So,
So the old sign was illegal also, that's what you're saying?
Was grandfathered.
So without the size thing, right? What if the sign that's there now, I know it's a touchy subject because it was donated, right? But if it could be, I don't know how you could sell something that's been donated and compromised, whatever. But if that could happen, that money could go towards the revamping of the old sign, make that a little better than what it looked like before, or?
Have you seen the old sign?
I know, I remember the old sign, but so that money can go towards getting the sign similar to that one. Even if it's the wrong size, nobody had a problem with it being the wrong size before. I mean, there's a compromise there, now it won't be Las Vegas, but it'll be, I've never been to Vegas.
Rusty was gonna say something.
But I don't know, I'm just bringing, so I'm trying to think, because I don't want either side to lose, I want us all to gain.
That's our,
Not always possible.
I know.
Rusty?
As been stated before, people want the village board to make votes on things. Well, why don't you just vote to do this? Why don't you vote to do that? Why don't we have a meeting and we all get together and we all say, well, how can we compromise? I hear everybody saying that. It's not how it works. Having a meeting and compromising isn't how the law works. And I've said this before. There are 2 or 3 options. One is to change the zoning of that particular part of the village. 2 is to change the rules about what can be in a zone. That's it. We don't get to sit here and say, well, okay, it's all right with us if you turn that sign off at 4. That's not the law. We don't have that authority to do that. We don't have the authority to give you a decision for a compromise that you want. The decisions are change the rules to allow it, and that can happen in several ways. That's it. That's our only authority. We can sit here and say, oh, boy, I want to sell, we want to do it. They don't tell us, you can't do that.
Then you have this argument for the next 6 months.
Yeah, and we can't do that.
Rusty's very right on that one.
I just want to say a word about the former historic, I almost hesitate to use the word, sign that was there. But if you drive across country, you see that exact same sign in front of almost any American Legion post. I forget what it was like a white sign, but it's all over the country. An American Legion official post. Probably since the late 40s, early 50s, those signs have been across the country. And people recognize them as that's an American Legion post. And if they want to go there, they turn right and they go right in.
That little white sign's actually still there on the pole.
That's how I found it.
2 illegal signs. We get to build them twice. This is kind of like one of those flex games. I like that.
Yeah.
Can I change the subject?
Sure. Please.
Hey, John.
I'm worried about the red light and the stop sign on Main Street and Church, and I think you should look into another solution called a speed bump.
Yeah.
Just put a speed bump on Main Street because they're going too fast. It's very dangerous coming out there, and I have to come out there a lot. And so the speed bumps are often all around the world, and we ought to look into it.
Yeah. Our plow guys don't like those. Otherwise, I agree, but if we didn't have winter. Corey?
The other day, not to go against the way, but the other day I sat at AutoZone parking lot and I watched cars go through there. One, I don't, if it's a speed issue, the police should probably delegate their time there, right? But 2, I don't think people realize that they think they're going fast, but when you're standing still and a car's going by you 20, 25, 30 miles, it seems faster than it really is. And I think that's a lot of the issue. And I'm not going against nobody. I'm just an outsider because I run a lot of demolition derbies. When you hit somebody at 40, it seems like it's, but you're actually going 20. You watch it on tape, you're like, it's slow. And I think that's a lot of the problem. And I think they think they're doing 30, 40 mile an hour, and they're really not. I think, maybe put a speed radar there. I mean, that would, I don't think they're going as fast as people think they are.
Yeah, we do have a trailer, which we move around the village for that same exact, like, we get a lot of complaints that people are flying down George Street or whatever. And, turns out they're really not. It's just, it looks fast. But
It
they're
does,
standing on the
it truly
side.
looks fast.
All right. Rusty.
The Traffic and Safety Committee has gone over there before and looked at that and given a recommendation. The people are not going faster now through that blinking yellow than they were before through the green. They haven't sped up because it's blinking yellow instead of green. My observation, and once again, Traffic and Safety looked at this and gave a recommendation, is that we don't know how dangerous this is exactly. It's hard to figure. But I tell you what, that light is more efficient right now, that intersection, than it has been ever. That traffic going on Main Street doesn't have to stop, ever. The traffic coming up on Church Street doesn't have to wait. That was a 40-20 light. 40 seconds for the Church Street, 20 seconds of red, 20 seconds for me. Those people on Church Street now, if they're paying attention, driving well, there's hardly ever a bunch of cars coming. They gotta wait 3 seconds, 5 seconds. The intersection is efficient. Whether or not it's going to turn out to be not safe enough is yet to be known. Just clearing up those couple of points. Sorry for jumping into the public comment.
Any other public comment? Okay. Invited guests. We have, nobody on the agenda, but anybody come to talk about this? John, did you come to present some, the Rotary press?
I don't see an agenda. I don't know when I'm up.
You're up.
You're up.
We didn't put it on there anyway, but you're up.
So last time I came, I talked about a project for the Owego Rotary of changing the boring sentry columns on the end of the Court Street Bridge and making them a little into a park with honoring the past people who came from our county and moved on and did something in the world. And so I don't know what my status is now. If I need to have the village approval to do this on state land because you guys take care of the sidewalk or plow it or something. And so the state wants me to work with you guys.
Okay. So I mean, you gave us all the packet, everybody review it. What sort of questions do you have for John?
Any questions?
I went and mapped it out today with painter's tape and I sent you all a picture just so you get an idea. And I didn't to Rusty. I'm sorry, Rusty, you don't have an email.
Well, that's news.
I know.
I don't have an email.
I'm so confused.
So why does every single meeting say, oh, but Rusty didn't get it, doesn't have an email?
Yeah.
Well, it's just
It
sent
looks
out,
like
I
that.
didn't get it either, because
So
it
this
just
is
sent out.
the
Back,
side.
check.
Of the soapbox.
Of the soapbox. So you can see it across. So there's room to walk. That's what my biggest concern is.
We talked about this, of having a raised piece in there for that soapbox feel.
Yeah.
And we talked about that being problematic for somebody in a wheelchair, somebody that wants to go in, look around, go through whatever, because this thing, they can't get around this thing, the soapbox thing. Just a thought, you can say right or wrong or bad, but it's a thought.
And if you can come at it like that way, in a wheelchair, not go up a step down.
Just that's the only thought we had about something in the middle there, I had was, I'm gonna not allow somebody with this disability to be able to go in and look at plaques or whatever, because we've got that thing.
They can look at the plaques and they can also do a QR code. But getting up on the step is, same thing as getting up on the courthouse steps, Is that, handicap accessible on it? It's just what goes on, unfortunately, for handicapped people. And, well, they can easily get to the QR code and Phoebe's gonna read off what's a little paragraph about each person. There's 75 people so far on there. And They'll be able to hear that. It'll be a tourist attraction.
How is the QR code, like, what's it on?
Well, it's gonna be bronze plaques, so the names of the people on there. It'll be just a little thing it'd be on the inside of the columns, not on the outside.
And I'm just wondering, like, long term, does that QR technology hang around long enough to stick it on a plaque? I don't know.
Well, it'll replace it, with something that's current with the technology, but right now, everybody's got QR codes and it's.
No, I know. That's just my only fear of like engraving it into a plaque or something like that.
Well, it won't be part of the bronze, it'll be below it or a place where we can insert new QR codes or something like that.
And
that
actually,
works.
we could work on the height of the QR code especially, because then it would be accessible from a wheelchair, because that's a really good point, Rusty.
Just, can I throw in here? I'm not trying to block this project, I'm just trying to point out the stuff. And it's interesting to have somebody point out, well, but over here, that in the courthouse, they have this, and there's lots of places that, it's kind of the same argument over there. Lots of places don't have.
Like getting into your.
When we start something new.
Like getting into your shop. Handicap accessible. I can't even get in.
No one can get in. I have 2 feet in, I have a thing that says you can't go by here.
Oh, that's true. Sorry. Nobody's sorry.
But the point being that we get that there are lots of places that are not quite so handicap accessible, blah, 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 blah. But when we, today in 1924, 2024, when we do stuff today,
It's 25.
they expect us to follow it. That's 20, it's 1925 now. They expect us to follow it now. They don't say, oh, yeah, well, you know, I'm just bringing it up. And of course, out of the spirit of fun, when I'm in my wheelchair with no email, I won't be able to cue code some.
You gotta have a phone first.
But that's over there. That's over there. Whatever we need to do.
Meta glasses.
Whatever we need to do to make it, correct.
How far above ground level is this going to be?
Well, it's the stone is 8 inches high.
Okay.
And it won't be a tripping hazard because there'll be a barrier around it, right? Chain?
No,
That's just-
there's a
back.
Oh.
Chain on the back.
chain on the back, 2 sides, the riverside and the opposite side from the sidewalk. It's just a chain that makes it look like it's part of the bridge decoration, the green chain.
Ties it in.
Yeah, just tying it in. It's just, and we, Terry
I
suggested
feel at least it's something that turns it into a purpose. Right now, it's just a
weird little house.
giant cement umbrella.
Yeah.
Laura?
So you need something from us so that you can supply it to the state, so you can get a work permit for
Probably.
working on the side of the
Resolution or something.
state road.
Yes.
So we can just do a letter for
Well,
them.
if we do a resolution of support, then that would be in our minutes, which you could provide to whoever.
Okay.
That typically would work,
So what?
or a letter. I mean, you could do a resolution that says, create a letter or whatever.
So could we do that now all right, so I'll motion that we create a resolution to allow the Owego Rotary projects to do the project at the Sentry Towers at the Court Street Bridge North.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion on that?
I think we have a comment that needs to be, is that permissible?
For me, I couldn't, Corey's gonna say something about, he's not supposed to, but, I didn't get all of the motions, so, but I would always like Ryan to read back motions if you can anyways.
Let her do it again.
Okay, so
Make sure you say loud, because Rusty's in the corner.
to motion for a resolution to allow the Owego Rotary projects to be approved, proceed.
You got something about the central tower.
The Sentry
For the
Tower.
kiosk.
For the
Century.
Sentry Towers at the north side of the Court Street Bridge. So that they can get their work
No, just
permits.
one side.
No, it's both sides.
It's both
It
sides?
is both sides.
On both sides.
But they're the same
On
size.
both sides? Right, that's what he was asking.
So it's like for the installation of 30 by 30 by 8
Well, yeah, it's in
blue
the
stepping
package.
stones
I would just say
and plaques of
in accordance
notable,
with provided
yeah.
material.
Maybe it's easier for me. Are we adding the details in the motion? I'm just asking what we're doing.
Nah, just like the basics of the project.
Or did you have anything?
Yes, I know I'm a Debbie Downer, but the liability of bringing more people in, what's the risk versus reward? That's the way I'm saying, and are they gonna let you additionally insure on the Rotary Club for people who come to look at a sign that the village doesn't capitalize on at all? It's realistic, I mean, what's the village gaining by putting signs there? Somebody walks out, twists an ankle, who's getting sued, the Rotary Club or the village? I mean,
People in the flat.
it's just, I know I see like a Debbie Downer, but I'm a realist, I'm a numbers guy. And it's the risk versus reward on, it's a great concept, but maybe do it somewhere else. I mean, and I think it's too close to the sign concept right now to be opening up other signs.
Well, I think a small brass plaque is not an objection.
No, I get that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how many people are you gonna bring from Topeka, Kansas to come look at the sign? I mean, and the people you do generate, what's it gonna gain the village? So if the village gets sued and somebody, you got a $65,000 lawsuit coming because somebody wanted to read about what Martha Stewart did 45 years ago, I get it, great concept, but I'm just a realist.
I think
I'm
it
a
might
numbers
be
guy.
something like if people go to the museum, which seems a little strange, but it's amazing to me from how many states people come to our museum because their genealogy is fantastic. I could see that being, another one of the sites that they might promote also.
So who carries the insurance at the museum?
If
I'm not trying to.
I mean, I'm not sure we're really worried about an insurance thing. It would be the same as anyone
Yes, sidewalk.
walking in the village, going, from the park view over to, Fuddy Duddy's. I mean, I don't see that. I'm not as worried about
That's
that,
what it
I
is.
don't think.
Rusty's got something back there.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that the village board understands this. I'm getting the impression that the village board thinks it's a good idea, that we should go forward with that. Not a problem for me. Does the village board understand the specifics of what's going there? Does everybody, instead of we just love the idea, do you understand how it's gonna work, or what's gonna be where, the physics of it? Okay, know what's going on, okay. Is there any chance that, I don't know if this is important or not, again, I just brought up the handicap stuff. Is there any chance that instead of having that square block in the middle, that we have a different place for a soapbox, something the size of a soapbox, something in the side of it instead of in the middle there, or I don't know, is there a way to do that so that it's not problematic for that? Just a detail.
The only thing I think of is in the middle, since Fred says if they don't plow there, that's actually kind of good because then it isn't an obstruction for them clearing sidewalks. Because they don't plow underneath there. Correct?
Correct. But, so, I understand.
So if you put it somewhere else.
I know, I'm at someplace inside the thing, only not in the middle where you couldn't get somebody in there or through there. I meant maybe inside.
Well, do we
I'm
know?
just asking, something small, I don't know, just asking something.
Do we know that if you're sticking in the middle, there's not enough room to get around it? Like in a
You can get
wheelchair?
around it, it would probably be difficult to get a wheelchair around it. I could get around it because that's why I went and mapped it out today and then walked around it.
Right.
To make sure, but I think a wheelchair,
You could also wheel outside and around to the other side.
yes, you could do that also.
Like it's not a closed-in thing other than the
Right.
little chain we're gonna put on two sides.
Right.
There's a lot of room around it outside. Rusty?
I have pointed out some things that, my job is to point out all these things that we don't think about. I pointed them out, I'm done. I'm prepared for you to vote on this.
Okay. Shall we vote on it? Everybody have enough info?
Okay, let me just review. So you said we're approving this, marker, but we're asking them to put together, the Rotary to put together a decree to the village, or village is gonna put that together?
No, so we would
You're doing it now. Make a resolution.
in support of the project.
Well, you said you have to have a letter to go to the state.
But we would need a resolution or a letter, I don't know which they need, but we'll get them whatever they need.
So that will be done by the board or by you?
Right.
Okay.
Once we have the resolution
I
of
just want
support,
to make sure we know who's responsible.
then if they need a letter, I can write the letter and give it to them.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, at least,
It'll be your responsibility once we put it together.
Mhm.
Done, as part of the river walk and the other monuments and signs along, crossing the park field, which is sort of ties it in. Tourism, we'll talk about it, kind of adds to what they can sell the community.
Yeah.
right, well, at least with this area, be a designated area with an actual soapbox, people could actually come and stand on it and talk about the sign.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
And hopefully the Weissman truck will go by and drown out a few of them.
All right,
Don't
shall we
just
vote
don't
on
go
this?
off.
Everybody's got good understanding what it is? Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. Okay. You guys are good. If the resolution isn't enough, we'll get you a letter or whatever you need.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, should we go, let's go with department head reports. And get Roden and Brad. Roden, you wanna go first? You got up at 3 in the morning, you said.
Yeah. All you talk about. All right, so thank you for the snack food, young lady.
Every in one day now?
Yeah, we ate them all. So for 2024, we had 1,702 calls, which is more than I think we've had in a long time. 1,702. Thank you. You're welcome. We had 121 calls that we responded to in the month of December. We have 6 new applicants. The first one is TJ Mead, who lives on Delphine Street, who wants to join as a driver. Leslie Allen, who lives on Waverly Road, who wants to drive. Cassidy Fisher lives up Ivory Foster and wants to join and probably take the EMT class because she works in healthcare. Joe Henning lives on East Main Street and wants to drive and then may consider EMT class. And then Justin Thompson as well lives on Ivory Foster and wants to drive and potentially down the road take EMT class. And then we have James Hoover, who was a member in the past and wants to come back and re-get his EMT and join the squad and stuff. So that's good. It's just going to take a while to get them up and running. But I would like to ask you guys to, absolutely, you can have.
Has the nonprofit corporation accepted these members?
Yes, they did last night. We had a special meeting and accepted them.
Brandon, go for it.
All right, I recommend that the board accept James Hoover, TJ Mead.
One at a time.
You probably gotta do them each separate.
One at a time, okay.
That's what we do with the fire department.
Yeah.
All right,
We can't do the things we do in the fire department. We're EMS.
That's a bad correlation.
This is where they come to us.
I know, but
I propose that the board accept James Hoover to the EMS, Owego EMS.
Second. Any discussion on James? We'll vote. Laura,
Yes.
Dave. Yes. Fran,
Yes,
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
and I propose that the village board accept TJ Mead as a member of the Owego EMS.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on TJ? Laura,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Okay, I propose that the board accept Les Allen as a member of the Owego EMS.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on this? Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
I have a question before we go
Oh,
too
yeah.
far.
Sorry.
On all these drivers you're proposing, they've all had their driver's license checked?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, that's a political issue. How do I explain it? The fact that I haven't been able to get the information to know how to do it to be able to check them.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of the transition issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so none of these drivers that are gonna be driving our ambulances have had a driver's record?
Nope, because I have no way of doing it, nor do I know how to do it. And the information that was provided to us 2 months ago to do it, as I look into it, wasn't the correct information. I emailed the individual and got a response.
So we can figure that out with the police department.
Yeah.
So we will check in that.
Yeah, we'll.
Yeah, before they actually.
Good idea.
drive.
But there's this New York State Lens program that we're supposed to have access to that I do not.
Rusty's.
Just following up on Dave.
Sorry.
So we assume that you're going to take care of this business, that no one will be doing anything until they're, you have qualified documentation and they've been fully trained on trucks. We assume all that, but.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we certainly don't wanna hire anybody who's got 3 DUIs, you know.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, we've got to.
We'll figure it out.
We can work with.
All right, I got people then.
If that clause added to it, I accept, yes.
Okay. Fran, we're still voting on Les.
Okay, yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
Okay, and I propose that the village board accept Joe Henning as a member of the Owego EMS squad.
I'll second that.
Laura,
Yes.
Dave, yes. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, and I propose that the board accept Cassidy Fisher as a member of the Owego EMS.
I'll second that.
Laura,
Yes.
Dave, yes. Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
And I propose that the village board accept Justin Thompson.
It's actually Thompson.
It is an M.
Oh, all right, sorry.
He's my nephew.
Thank you.
I'll second that, so there's no family issue.
Does he drive like you?
Drive like.
It's THOM.
THOM.
TSON.
Okay.
Hey, Charles,
I didn't teach him how to
did
drive.
you teach him how to drive?
No, I didn't.
We're good.
Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes.
All right, thank you. Vehicle wise, 2031's 29,000 miles, no issues. 2032, of course, going to be New Jersey until July. 2033, 164,000. 2034, 45,000. We finally got that in service and it's running well. You know, of course, once you put it in service, you got to tweak a couple of things. So we've been doing that, but it was doing good. And 2051's got 49,000 miles, no issues. We did obviously get the laryngoscopes. We're working on the final plan to put it in service. So hopefully next couple of weeks, those will be on the trucks. All our stretchers have been repaired, serviced, and fixed. So they're all up and running. And there's the proposition later in old business for you guys to approve the grants. So I actually know what that is all about now. And so please follow through with that.
You want to do it now?
Yeah.
Let's do it now.
All right.
You can go home and go sleep.
The old business for
Yes.
Oh, okay.
resolve 3MS
To apply to.
The technology
for
grant.
technology grant for 5 new laptops, 4 monitors, and 2 NXTs, which are the auto pulses. So we're gonna try and get grants for.
And this is not a specific grant, this is just saying when to go do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's for her to approve,
Village.
for her to go get the grants,
And it's the village department going for these grants, not.
not the 501c3.
Who are you
Correct.
The stuff we need to
approving
figure out.
Mike, who are you approving to go get the grant?
Our grant person, Glenda, Ford.
Yes,
So, yeah, once again, not the corporation, but the village.
yes,
Correct.
this is the village going to get the grants.
we're attempting to do it.
Yeah. Don't know until we try.
So does somebody want to do that motion?
Sure, I propose that, the village board, approve the application for technology grants to purchase 5 laptops and 4 cardio monitoring equipment. And 2 NTX.
Second.
Any other questions about that? Don't know any details, but this is just to apply, and then obviously the details will come back for the specifics of the grant, so we get one. So let's vote on that. Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
I didn't get a chance to ask a question before we started going,
Oh, sorry.
but you want me to do that now or not?
Sure.
No, a quick question, just is, we would, obviously, keep us informed, but when that stuff is starting to come back, we kind of like to know the details of that so that we can give what we call further approval on details of that.
On the
Right.
approval of the acceptance of the grants, which you're looking
Yeah,
Yes.
so, okay.
Which we'd still have to do anyway.
And anyways, yes, thank you for letting me.
Yes.
for. Yes.
Can I have your email again? Because like, this stuff all qualifies for the hazard mitigation grants and stuff. So I need you to have that info.
Let me tell you another
The
question.
CEC with the CDC with the SCDC.
You got a village email.
Yes.
Fancy. All right, thanks.
Welcome. All right, so is that one?
That's all good.
That's good. All right. We finished all of our compliance updates with the State Department of Health with all the changes that have been made. And we did change our assistant controlled substance officer from the previous administration to Scott Gurney. So it's Christina and Scott. And so they're going to take care of everything from now on. And the big elephant in the room is the scheduling issues we're having. We've been having more people cutting back, bailing on us last minute, not covering their shifts. It's really getting to be a mess. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know what the golden ticket is, but I think putting off the communications with the 501c3 just makes it worse. Those that are trying to continue to go are starting to get tired and starting to get burned out from having to run so many calls, and the others are just sitting back watching, waiting for things to happen. So I don't know what we can do, but I think meeting sooner, more often would probably be better to get the people on the 501c3 on board.
We mean our.
We're meeting Thursday.
Yeah, we're meeting Thursday.
Well,
Update about that.
Oh, yeah.
So Thursday is also an OHPC meeting, which got moved because they didn't have a meeting the 2nd, which would have been the first Thursday, but it was January 2nd. So they're having it this Thursday at the same time that we were supposed to meet with the EMS.
Too bad we had ours first.
So yeah, we got a couple options. Either we move it or like we meet in the conference room or.
We could probably meet in the conference room. We have like one little item of discussion. We don't even have any,
I don't say, how long are you? How long you meeting for?
maybe half an hour, 45 minutes
Yeah,
tops.
7 to 7:30.
Yeah, it is really short.
Okay.
Would it be better if we left,
We could
because
be
we
in
had that meeting
conference.
scheduled at 6.
Yeah, there you go.
Thursday.
We do, it's at 6.
Yeah, because that was what it was on mine.
Oh, yeah.
Must be.
Love to.
Must be.
Why?
Why?
It's easy to find. It's
Why?
it's trying.
Why?
Suggestion.
Oh, don't even say.
Nice.
I don't even know.
OHPC is gonna meet there. They'll put it on the sign.
Come on, let's get it.
There we go, okay. Make hands.
But you know what, if EMS met here at 6, I think OHPC could meet in there.
We can meet in the conference room.
Yeah, we'll meet in the conference
Okay.
room.
So maybe we still can do it Thursday.
Do it Thursday.
Would it be better to do it Thursday, do you think? I think so.
I think we need to get this settled sooner than later because it's not helping dragging it out. Because there are certain people that are causing more problems because it's taking longer and it's not working, and it's a real struggle. I'm just
Make sure, Nate, can you still do this Thursday?
Which day?
Thursday?
This Thursday?
Like we had originally planned?
Yeah, I'm still available.
It's still at 6?
At 6, yes.
6 p.m.
And it's already advertised, so
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it.
So it's good.
that's what I want to talk about.
I'll do 2 meetings next.
It's on my list.
But yeah, it's a big issue. So for instance, this past weekend of the 60 hours, we had maybe 15 to 17 hours worth of coverage, which is not good at all. I'm just, with all the administrative stuff, I don't have bandwidth to do anything else. So it's a struggle. We talked about maybe we need to start working on adjusting the hours of the paid staff to help cover more areas so we don't have 2 during the week and that kind of stuff. But we've got to do something.
Because we realistically only have one driver at a time, a lot of the time.
At times, well, I've asked one of them to do the driver scheduling, and that's my response. So I've got to.
During workday?
Huh?
What about during workday? You need drivers during workday?
Yes.
You want to drive?
We could. It's an option.
Village vehicle.
Just saying.
All right.
Other than unless it snows, then you're not having none of them.
Well, I understand.
Just as long as you know that.
Nobody gets sick when it's done.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm actually against the village to do.
That's when they gotta go to the hospital at 3 in the morning in the snowstorm.
All right, we'll talk
Like
offline
last
then and
week.
see. But yeah, just a scheduling issue is big. Elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The other piece of old business, of course, is our sewer issue. So thank you for bringing up the fire station earlier.
I think they left.
Yeah.
Is that a backup flow preventer issue? Like, do we just need to install
No,
that?
no.
It's bigger than that, isn't
Way
it?
bigger than that.
What do you
Because
think
all
the
the
issue is?
drains are from the up on the roof that comes down through 1 8-inch at the bottom. So as you figure, water falls 3 stories, it backs it up.
Oh.
That's the problem.
So underground, is it like maybe filled up and also
No,
a
there's
too
big
small
S
size to
track before
drain?
it goes out and it can't get all the water if it rains from the roof down. That's the problem.
So the solution will be to disconnect the roof drains.
Yes.
Oh, that's a big job.
Yes. Or you reroute the sewer and then you pipe it all the way out to the main sewer, which is gonna be more costly.
Right. It's a bigger job.
Because I had Tim Sneed over there looking at it.
Yeah, I know he said it was a big job.
Yeah.
Is there like a report or something that we can give about it?
I don't know if we
Like
did
some
a
sort of
report.
He didn't do
analysis
no
that they
report,
did?
We just talked.
We could ask him for a report.
Yeah, if you could like just type something up that says that we've looked at the situation, we're trying to address it, and then we can put it in with, so we're trying to get our critical infrastructure improved. And so if we can show our needs and that how we're trying to do it.
Sneed at Hunt.
That's a big health and safety one with sewage
Yeah,
backing up.
well, I mean, by law, it should be.
Right, well, if we touch it, we have to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
If you touch it, you got to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what
And
we
if it
did.
rains really hard, that floods the fire station.
That's what we had to do on the back of Lake Street there when we messed with the sewer we had
Comes
to
out the
disconnect.
toilet and the floor drains and everything else.
Do you have like a picture or something?
We'll just have to wait for the next thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Take pictures.
Get some pictures.
She did send me pictures of it when I was going through the toilet.
There we go.
It's not
Got some
pretty.
pictures, maybe.
It's not pretty.
No, they're not
So
pretty.
he had pictures.
The guy did have pictures. But, yeah.
All right, you guys have any questions for me?
Just as a side note,
See you Thursday.
Fair enough.
just as a side note, I was given information about pages that are needed for the EMS.
Yes,
In order to make these calls, we gotta hear them.
yes.
So, I sent information to Fran and to Mike. We have to get that in hard copy so that we can get that to, Rusty and to the other members so we can look over that. I wanted to hit the ground running in 1925, but,
1920.
Yes, I know. It's a rustyism.
but that's gonna be on the agenda, just so you can relay that.
But yeah, bring that up on Thursday, and I mean, because that will help. Because right now we have all these people joining us, and we don't have anything to give them. And some of these poor people have joined the fire department, and poor Eric is in the same boat and doesn't have any. So,
But no, it's on the way. I keep my promises.
all right.
Request program, there were three things, I thought I saw a fourth thing there, which was for radios. That's for everything, no, I'm serious, I'm not.
No, you're accurate, but the problem is the timing, right? It's right now we need them.
It was a good,
We needed
you'll
them.
get the information, I'll make sure you get it.
We needed them 2 years ago, but we didn't have them. People were buying them out of their own personal funds and donating them as they saw fit, and now we don't have the donation flow. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm short and quick, can't do nothing in the winter. Anyway, Laura,
Yes.
Jerry Wiley, you and her with the walkway down by the river walk, were you on that committee about, wasn't it you?
About the washing?
Yeah, well, about the scraping.
Yeah. I'm on the committee, but I didn't get to go to any of the.
Okay, so anyway,
Thanks.
we just finished up the Kubota for the plow. I told her that we'd have a plow and that Eric was gonna wash it if we ever had a flood, which we do. All right, so the Kubota's ready to go to push it off.
Nice.
Yep. Ongoing Christmas tree, we're still big on Christmas trees. We did about 20 of them today and chipped them all up. And then we're working on the DPW equipment for the summer. Potholes ongoing, patching them. We did that Friday all day. We took an annual New York State harassment training class last week. We all passed. Yay!
Wow.
I know, that's impressive.
Learn how to harass.
Yeah, they're experts.
Yeah, that's what it did. They all told me that's why I failed it. But, all right, whatever. That's it. Yeah, just working on the equipment for the summer and getting them ready. And I just wanted to bring that for Jerry and Laura to tell Jerry about that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So that is a poly blade on that. Wow.
Oh, so we won't mess up the concrete.
Correct. We've Mark fabricated a bracket for and I bought a poly blade off Amazon.
Nice.
So we bolted that onto the old John Deere blade. So now we got a blade for snow and for that. So we're all set for $40. I think I got this blade.
Nice.
So we're all set to plow that out to the floods. When it floods, I should say.
Yeah, when?
When? So. I know. Well, pay me the $10,000 and I just $40.
Yeah, right?
Really? Look at you, Steve.
Let's see, I don't.
And another thing is,
If
if you guys approve of that, I don't have a problem, like in the wintertime when nothing's really going on, if you need drivers. I'm sure there's guys that over there would drive, I would drive. I mean, we have to. We gotta adapt and overcome, whatever we have to do.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it would be 2 guys on the chances of if we have a call.
Right.
And if the village is willing to buy the pagers, then we could give them pagers, and if it's a squad call, one of them would be.
Or we leave just one of them in the garage and they'll tell us. I mean, we figure something out, that's not a big deal. But unless it snows or whatever, salting, whatever, I got at least have 3 people to salt and the whole crew to plow, so if something like that, then I couldn't do it, but if it's a normal winter day, and we could definitely send out a person to
Yeah, as long as they were trained on the vehicles.
Yeah, we'd have to spend a day doing.
put it in your ear and go. Can't be no worse than a lot of people. We'll figure it out.
Before you guys bolt, HOM was gonna come, I think she's gonna come to next meeting, but Janelle just let me know that they are planning on doing all the same events. Strawberry Fest, Porch Fest, Halloween Fest, Holiday Showcase, Lights on the River, and Moonlight Shopping. So,
My only concern on that whole thing is their garbage.
right. But I think she's gonna be at next meeting. But
That's
just
my
wanted-
only concern.
Just wanna let us know that, what their plan is for the year. 1925 or whatever year we're in.
Yes. We've asked them to come, ahead and talk to us ahead. This is what we want to do, but we don't necessarily mean we're gonna, next meeting, say, okay, we approve everything, but we want them to come and get in the process.
Yeah, no, they're just coming to tell us the dates.
Like we had the agreement that we did this year with them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Here we go.
I think I can't get out of my own way if I had to.
Now you're thinking.
Be plowed through, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, guys. See ya.
Let's see, police department.
Multiple things for the police.
Joe Selmo, no. Rusty, did you get the note? You want to read it or? you want me to read it?
I don't think I have enough words.
He sent it today.
It's what just came today.
Just,
Yeah.
it's December calls are 610. Arrests 16, traffic tickets 55, parking tickets 28, motor vehicle accidents 9, and DWI 0. And then he's got 2024 numbers. So 2024 total calls 5,535. Total arrests for 2024 were 195. Traffic tickets 477. Parking tickets for 2024, 154. Motor vehicle accidents, 137. And DWI arrests in 2024, 19. The other thing that we have for the police department is we have to hold a police chief exam per civil service and his waiver. And what we need to determine is the minimum salary that we want to publish on the exam. Last time we did this, we set the minimum salary at $40,000. So we need to determine if that's still the number or if we want to revise it. Because we need to get back to civil service so they can hold the exam.
Rusty is going to
Rusty?
I guess we should, set the minimum salary at $40,000 again on the civil service exam. Not going into very detail of the reasons to do that.
I agree.
But once again, can we, Mike, you know what I said before, can we also put on, will civil service allow us to put on there that is entire compensation, no insurance benefits, no health insurance, no retirement, no anything.
Yeah, we'll check it with the list.
We're allowed to put that on there. We should put that.
It's definitely part-time, no benefits, so.
Nate should know that.
Good luck, I don't know what civil service.
Yeah, civil service is weird.
So is that something we need to vote on, or?
Yes.
Move that we, it's the right wording, right, Mike, that we.
Set?
Yeah, set the advertised minimum salary.
Yeah, advertise that, police chief. Test, civil service, minimum salary, $40,000, no benefits.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion on that? This is every few years, we have to give a new test to see if there's any non-retired interested parties, basically. That's the reason. Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, so check that out. Anything else from police? I don't think so.
On
I talked to Jay, nothing.
his report, he said that the current police exam list was released and
Oh, that's right.
they canvassed the list and they're waiting for the candidates to respond. And they're attempting to find 2 qualified applicants to fill the 2 existing COPS grant positions that were vacated.
That's on the memo that he gave us.
Yeah, his report. I forgot.
Yeah. It's just the update.
Okay. Fire department, we hear anything? Eric said he's coming to the next meeting. I talked to him today. Did you?
I haven't heard from, they didn't have a meeting last.
Oh, they didn't have a fire board meeting in December?
No, in December? Yes, they had one in December.
And in the second week of December, they haven't had this one yet.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, and Eric said he would come to our next meeting. He was busy tonight.
I'll just be, we having that this Wednesday coming up, right?
Yeah. Well, Charles, you know how this works for the last 2 people to know.
Yeah. We were sitting in the parking lot, we took place over.
Okay. Anything from clerk's office?
Let's see, I think it's Wednesday, no post office, all federal buildings are closed. No mail on. I don't think
I give you-
but either. No, banks and things are closed on Wednesday, federal holiday, or, because Jimmy Carter,
Oh, okay.
no post office.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
You will be-
Wednesday the 8th
What's that?
was this week? Tomorrow? 2 days.
Wednesday.
2 days.
They said Wednesday.
Okay, that's this week? Okay.
That the
No post office because of Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Jimmy Carter Day.
Village will be open.
And we do have the next 2 meeting this month and next month are both on Martin Luther King Day and President's Day.
We just moved up to Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
actually,
you're right.
it's wrong on that one. This is the 21st, not the 20th. But
I
yes.
know, I better update that on my calendar. 'Cause I gotta find
The
it.
21st, we'll have the meeting,
Yes.
inauguration day too.
The 20th, yeah.
20th is right.
Donald Trump Day.
Let's not get into that. I gotta put that on my calendar so I can find a sub. Okay.
That's what I mean. To the health insurance.
Oh, yes, let's do the health insurance. So every year we have to approve the amendment to our health insurance plan. Somebody wants to do that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement for Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium.
Second.
Okay. My only discussion on this, and maybe we pick somebody, but I don't remember. They typically want me and somebody else on the consortium. Is there anybody that wants to volunteer to sit in their very exciting health insurance meetings?
Exciting.
Do you know when they are, by any chance?
Oh, God, you're gonna ask me that. It used to be Ed Morton, and he used to actually go, and I never did, so I don't know.
How often are they, Mike?
Like quarterly, maybe.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Lots of papers.
No, they're on the computer, so maybe Terry's better.
Rusty.
Terry, why don't you do it?
I'll do it.
Rusty.
I volunteer for everything. Keep doing it.
Ed used to be the guy. But anyway, so we got a motion and a second to approve the amendment. Let's vote on that. Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes. Okay. Let's see, so we missed on the agenda payment of bills. Everybody get them? Do you have any questions? We have a motion to approve the payment of bills.
I motion to approve the payment of bills.
Second? Second. Any discussion, questions? Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
And yes. Let's go back to communications. So I talked to Eric Johnson, who's the president of the Fair Board. And he's gonna either, which he hasn't yet, but he's gonna give me information or he's gonna come to one of our meetings. They wanna do some more events down there at the fairgrounds. And they wanna plan them with us instead of against us. One of them is a much different monster truck show. So he's got some new information on that. Sounds, we'll do our research on it, but it sounds like a much different company than came before. So
Does it change the name?
maybe they changed their name. We'll see if Ariel comes with his bag of cash in the middle of the night. Locked up at the police station.
Sounds a bit sketch, but okay.
It's interesting. Anyway, so we'll be working on that and we'll have Eric come and explain what he's got cooking. Sounds like they got a couple little events to use the fairgrounds a little more to draw some people. The other thing on the HOM topic I forgot, they invited me to their meeting, their annual meeting next January 14th. Can anybody go instead of me? It's at 6 o'clock at Carroll's.
What day of the week is that one?
It's Tuesday.
I go, but they don't like me very much.
I can go to that.
Okay.
Carol's Coffee Bar at 6,
Yep, January 14th.
can do that.
That's their annual meeting, just for one of, like, this was some of the, because we've had communication. It's better to communicate with them than not, so we know what they're planning. And usually I go, but I have a conflict that day.
No, that's fine, absolutely fine.
Okay. And the other thing is there is a NICOM conference, February 2nd through 4th in Albany. If anybody wants to go, we probably should have signed up like a couple weeks ago, so. Need to get with Nikki and Kevin.
Just like, this is the one that you and I have been to this one before. It's not very,
Yeah, it's the legislative update, so they go through the state budget and kind of tell you what they're gonna go to the state legislature and try and push. The book's on my desk too, if you wanna look at it.
Actually, we got.
No, it's a different book than that.
not this one.
It might be in there, but it's a different, I got a book on the actual conference too. It might be in that magazine. But anyway, it's February 2nd through 4th, so it's only a couple of days. Sometimes I usually go to this one. And I actually might, I gotta look at my schedule. I have a lot of cheer trips. I'll see, I might be able to swing that one. But if anybody wants to go, we gotta get that figured out like this week probably. Because they sent me to email to register like a month ago, so. That's nice. Let's see, we got minutes, we got 3 things of minutes. Because we've tabled them before for whatever reason. And,
Laura, you good? You don't have to tell us you're not ready.
Yeah, let me just see if we,
we can do December 30th.
let's do that one first, because
That was the special
that showed up first in my.
DRI meeting that was one motion or whatever.
Yeah, so let's motion to approve the meeting minutes for the special meeting that was held December 30th, 24.
I'll second that.
Okay. Look good. Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty, and yes. So the other two were held off for edits, December 2nd and December 16th.
What were they held up for, you said?
I think your edits maybe.
Oh,
And Fran just gave me one, she just sent to me about adding something to Peter Williams.
Yeah, that's for the 19th.
We've been
Or
at
what-
16.
Whatever,
16th.
16th, excuse me.
The only thing I had on the 16th was in EMS, it says no new members or resignations, but then underneath it, it had resignations, Sean Bogart. So if you just take no new members and then, yeah, that would be great, thanks. That was the only,
And actually, tonight's is gonna be the same.
He's got the same thing on that.
Okay.
They go, no.
Yeah.
so I will send my report and we can add that.
Which day we talking?
The 16th.
16th, okay.
So we want to approve that with your report?
Yeah, so a motion to approve that with with my report and the couple of the additions or the corrections.
Give me a second.
I'll second that.
Any other comments on the 16th? Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. And then the December 2nd, that was the same, we put those off, I think, because somebody needed to send a report or something.
Just wait a minute.
Right.
My report's in there.
Maybe we're good.
There was something else in that one.
This is the second that we put off before.
Yeah.
The second.
Have had a month to amend them, I move we approve.
I agree. You made a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion on them? Obviously, if we find something, we can always amend it later. Helps get them out on the website. So. Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
and yes. Okay. So now we've got our trustee reports. Dave.
Dave has nothing this week to report.
Okay.
I've talked to Dirk since before Christmas, so I'm nothing at this point, so.
Okay.
We can use it. As I hear something, I'll bring it up.
Rusty, you're next.
No report.
Charles. Laura.
The Climate Smart Communities Task Force and the BRIC DTA. There's going to be a meeting Wednesday at 10 a.m. It's going to be here because they're having like some work done at the other building. And so some of the things on the agenda to discuss about the BRIC DTA portion are our goals, setting our goals, protecting critical infrastructure. That includes the wastewater treatment plant, the tunnel, the North Avenue underpass, includes buildings owned by the village and other facilities that like support our services or utilities. And then also about the Building Codes Plus Up program, where we are looking at a grant to support the code enforcement department. It can include software, engaging consulting services, development of professional workforce capabilities through technical assistance and training, and to possibly get us 3 years of a paid person, like a CFM and code enforcement. or zoning, not, it wasn't in the building, it was in the zoning departments. So they is the FEMA team. There's a grant writer who is working on, writing us a proposal for this for us to be looking at soon. And the NOFOs are the notice of funding opportunities that they've been released. So now the clock is ticking that we need to get our stuff together and send something in to get seen before other communities, get in. Working on getting some questions answered for our ISAA, which is like information sharing request. It's for hazard mitigation data. So for us to work on our projects, for the BRIC DTA projects. Trying to get a new date for the energy audit of the wastewater treatment plant. I'm still working on the getting the stuff for the clean energy grant. So I'm working at getting the electric landscaping equipment, the car and the chargers. And then they want us to start having meetings for the solar array because, we've got 2 years. And so we need to start working now at it. I have an upcoming webinar for the funding grant, and I'm still working on the Jake Breaks stuff, and I just haven't had time to work on how we get the signs up. But it's not left my mind. And that's it for me.
Jerry.
I also attended the BRIC DTA meeting and building resiliency meeting, and I really think what I took out of it was the most important thing for us to work on is getting access to the sewer. Because when Dirk has talked about it and we've talked about it at the meetings, there's a lot of other small things that we might be able to make a little bit of a difference, but that is a huge undertaking, and it is something we really need a lot of funding assist to get dealt with. And I really feel like if you can't get trucks to that facility, at some point we're going to have something really bad happen, and it's going to be a huge issue for this community. Even a little water main break, as we know, can mess up the road for hours. Could you imagine if we didn't have sewer for a while? That could be huge. So, I definitely think that's something to keep in mind. The other thing was I attended a class on urban forestry. Kevin Millar had kind of pointed me the right direction. Really fascinating on how certain trees can take some of the water that's coming down as opposed to having it go into the storm sewers. And that is one of the reasons I really hesitate on having trees cut in other areas in the village. I feel like, we've had a lot of ash trees die in the last bunch of years. We're definitely seeing tree stress. We've got some healthy trees in an area. Maybe it's something we should think about leaving to kind of continue to help. And actually that area made me think I'd almost like to know the boundaries better, because I would like to almost see maybe Tioga County Soil and Conservation would like to put some more trees in that area to continue to help control erosion, but to hold water. And it was really interesting when they did this study, and it was like a 3-year study this woman did for her PhD, and they captured water coming off of trees, and certain oaks, like white oaks, would hold the water in the tree better and on the leaves, where the red oaks would let it go. And when you look at wood, if you want to buy oak, you don't want to buy the red oak wood, you want to buy the white, because the white, the way it gets together, it it's stronger and such. So it was super interesting to see like the way that the tree functions too that way. And they were showing that if you had like 4 inches of rain, it would hold 1 inch of that water for a little while. And so 25%, that was huge. Because I thought, well, 4 inches of rain really kind of screws us sometimes. It causes all sorts of issues. But if you had more trees like that had bark that would help, and leaves, obviously if it's leaf season, but the bark, especially because it's always there year round, if it holds more water, that makes great sense. So that was very interesting class.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Anyway, okay, that's my report. Thank you.
Okay. Fran?
This Saturday, the 11th, there's a cemetery committee meeting here in this building from 10 until about noon. What the purpose for our meeting is, we're trying to plan for the next year and following years, and we're working together with the Friends of Owego Evergreen, which do a lot of fundraising for the cemetery, and kind of divide up who's responsible for what. So if anyone has comments or ideas, that you're welcome to come to the meeting, or if you want to send me an email with any comments, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, down to me. I been busy a couple of weeks, but also in my free time, I met with IT to try and get us a better microphone in here to record the meetings and stuff. So they're working a quote on that. They had some ideas, including it may actually be the computer behind the TV might be the issue, which I didn't even think about. But so they're working on that. Also, we got our IT bill, and it was crazy, like double what we thought it was going to be. Yeah, 70% more. So we've been working with them and trying. That's why that note about the emails came out. Apparently, it costs us almost $500 a user a year.
Oh my goodness. We didn't know that.
Which we didn't know. So now we know. So we're trying to cut the number of users down.
Is that for emails?
Yes.
I can help.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks, Russ.
Thanks, Rusty.
Well, I haven't been using it either.
Right. So nobody has been using it, so I think it's not a big deal. But.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're trying to figure that one out.
Well, you have your email through them, right?
Yes.
You know, I should leave it that way.
Like I have one, EMS have a couple. That's an issue we gotta figure out. And now the county's allowing some generic logins, so that might help us reduce the number. Because there's some people, like, on the EMS side, we're gonna check into it, but likely just have an account so they can get in and do what they need to do. But don't necessarily need an account, you know what I mean? So anyway, we're working on that, trying to get the bill down. Public comment?
I like to make a public comment.
No, I just wanted to say I'm concerned about the tree cutting over there, about where the trees are, what the trees are, how much they're really worth. And I think you need to go out for an RFP when you determine, if you determine that you want them cut. I went down there today along Division Street, and there's a ditch, I don't know, probably about that wide, maybe wider. My arms, I got that far. And I'm not sure what the purpose is. It looks like a drainage ditch, but somebody's been throwing brush in there. It looks like a lot of Christmas trees or yew cuttings. And I don't know who's putting it in there. I was reluctant to ask before when Mr. Relier was here. But if it's a drainage ditch, it shouldn't be filled up with junk.
Right. That's true.
And I was just down there kind of eyeballing generally. It was a cold day and my car was warm.
What's cold?
What's an RFB?
RFP, a request for proposal.
Okay.
It's, if you want it done, then, they gotta be assessed the value. I mean, as he says, he's a numbers guy, but his numbers might not be good, our numbers, your numbers.
Right, and as I said, I was foggy on the lines, but
Yeah, the lines.
there's some
is-
very nice
I-
hickories in there and such, so,
Yeah, it'd probably worth some money if we were gonna cut them down.
There's some nice trees in there.
but they might also hold some water and keep us from flooding as much, so I
Yeah.
take that too. 'cause
Also
that's
true.
Worth a lot in my book. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get the confluence there and the creek and the river and anything that can take up some of that water there.
Yeah.
We need.
Another thing, just quick, speaking of the confluence, there was, 2 or 3, maybe 5 homeless people camped out down by the confluence of the creek. The water did come up and they moved even before it came up, but somebody has cleaned all that out, but there is somebody living just over the berm on River Street, though. Well, not living, but it's hard to tell, there's a lean-to, just for general information.
Good.
Okay.
That brings a different, we need to kick that in gear, that camping thing we're looking at.
Camping law.
Yeah.
Working on it.
Yeah, I think us as a board should really do everything we can within our power and within the boundaries that Nate had stated that we use in rectifying a conclusion to this sign thing. It really hurts my soul to see our residents at each other's throats with this issue that's been dragging on. I mean, we promised a platform to find out a solution to this. And I think we should honor that. Of course, we got to get with Nate, find out what can we say. I mean, if we have to be facilitators for code, whatever, but we did promise a platform for that to happen. And I think we really should follow through with that.
Yeah, I agree. We need to move on it.
But it's in the legal system, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes it tough, but yeah.
I mean, we don't want to cause more
Well,
issues.
that's why I said within the parameters of what Nate stated, but.
Right.
Oddly enough, I'm speaking an analogy, but a lot of times when people want justice, the justice they get isn't the justice they wanted. When people want resolution, the resolution you get isn't necessarily the resolution. But it is a resolution, whatever that it may happen to be. I do have a question, but you're done with that.
No, I'm done.
Since I wasn't here on the 30th, I want a little help from Rodney, the mayor. Resolved to approve the changes to amendments 1 and 2 and extend the final timeline. What's the extension of the final timeline?
So we applied for a 2-year extension.
So would that be 25 or 26 to the end of 26?
Right.
Thank you.
Yes.
It'd be 1926.
1926.
And actually, that was
I'm waiting for it to come around.
that's what Julie Sweet from Albany said that they were doing with everyone. They didn't want
Right.
someone to ask for another extension. You could only ask for one. So they just did them all out through the end of 2026.
So you can
which
only
makes
ask
sense.
for one.
Right.
Yeah, the depression, yeah.
Which is, I mean, and actually, it's, we've already had extensions on this, which they knew they had to do, and
Right.
this was some more. And yes, it's the final, absolute last one, unless it isn't.
Yeah, till the next one, right? All right, anything else?
Move to adjourn.
All right.
No.
Before 9 o'clock, really.